Welcome into Sportsmemo's NFL Every Game on the Board podcast, part two, with our next guest up, Andrew McInnis. McInnis, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Doing great, Drew. Can't believe it's Friday already. It's been a busy week, but a great week. Of course, I launched my new show with the Prez, Alex B. Smith, now back at Sports Memo, Carmine Bianco, and Dave Koch, and we're talking hockey Monday to Friday. So that's been a lot of fun. It's been great. I got a new microphone, so that's kind of nice, be able to have better quality talking with you guys, and always love doing these podcasts with you, Drew. And I can't believe it's week 15 already in the NFL. It's crazy, Drew, but it's been awesome, and looking forward to just kind of running through these games here. So it should be great. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. And yeah, we're going to hit the part two of the NFL Every Game on the Board. We got game number 317, 318, Green Bay, Chicago, all the way through the Monday nighter, New Orleans, Carolina. Green Bay, Chicago, McInnis, we got 44.5 the total, 5.5 the Chicago Bears laying at home.
Yeah, this is quite the rivalry game here, Drew. Everyone loves to watch the Packers and Bears go at it, and for me, it's been a disappointing season as far as the Green Bay Packers go. I think everybody can probably agree on that. And of course, this Bears team looking to clinch the NFC North division for the first time since 2010 with a win here. And the Packers really just trying to stay alive here with the win, with their any slim chances of making the playoffs realistically. And this Packers team, 5-7 and 1 against the spread. Bears, 9-4 straight up and 9-4 against the spread. So that kind of tells you something right there, that they're, when they're winning their game straight up, they're also covering the spread and looking good as well. But for me, I got to be honest here, Drew, I'm not going to look at the side here in this one. I'm going to look over the total. I think that this is a desperation game for the Green Bay Packers. They've been able to put up points recently. And this Bears team, although their defense is strong, they've been scoring in bunches as well, averaging 27 points per game. And again, like I mentioned, what's on the line in this game is the biggest deal for me, not just how they've been playing their past several games, but the fact is this is a divisional game. Chicago's trying to clinch that top spot, and we all know Green Bay, they're not out of it until they're out of it, and we know they're not going to call it quits and give up whatsoever. They're coming off a game where they scored 34 points. They allowed Atlanta to score 20, but it was impressive to me. It shows fight, shows energy. And I think they'll be able to put some points up in this one here. And it's a lower total in my eyes. So, look, 5.5, quite a bit of points really for me to look at this one. I think that Green Bay should be able to kind of stay within the number. But I'm going to look over the total in this one. 44.5, 45, too small of a number here at the total for me. So, over in this one, Drew.
All right, we got 319, 320, Tennessee at the New York Giants. 43.5 the total. Seeing Pick'em or Tennessee -1, depending where you shopping. How are you looking to bet this competitively priced game, McInnis?
It definitely is a really close game, Drew. Obviously a pick'em price here at Tennessee and the Giants. And when I look at this one, the Giants start the season off 1-7 straight up, and now looking for their third straight win. They've been impressive, and the main thing for me is that they've been putting points on the board. Look at their last several games. They put up 38 against Tampa Bay. They put up 22 against Philly, a stronger defense, 30 against Chicago, and 40 against Washington. They're not top tier, elite, great teams, but they're competing. They're kind of back in games, and they're looking to be more of a team that they should have been early on in the season. And as far as this Tennessee team goes, I think they'll come to play in this one. I mean, they just absolutely dominated Jacksonville in their last game on the 6th, and they're not beating great teams. They lost to Houston, they lost to Indianapolis, but they're contending, and they're beating teams that they should be beating. So for me in this one, again, I'm going to stay away from the side, and I'm going to look at the total in this one, Drew. I really, really do think this one's going to go over the total, and we're going to see a lot more points than the odds makers expect. I think I'd lean Tennessee here, but again, I see an over the total in this one.
We got Washington, Jacksonville up next. McInnis, 36 being the total. Man, low total here. Not a lot of offense projected in Jacksonville on Sunday. Looks like the Jags laying 7.5 pretty much across the board.
It's really a shame for this Washington team. I mean, they went from being front runners, hopefully, in their division. Then they run into mainly just quarterback issues and quarterback injuries, obviously, as back-to-back terrible injuries take place. It's sad to see. Jacksonville, though, they've been good at home. That's the biggest thing for them. They're 9-4 straight up last 13 home games. But overall, Drew, they've been almost an embarrassment to themselves. 1-8 in their last 9, just straight up overall. But again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but total's gone over in 4 of Washington's last 6 games. And I like to use the word desperation a lot when I'm handicapping NFL, because I think a lot of times you see so many changes on a week-to-week basis between teams. And you look at this Jacksonville Jaguars team. We're ending the season now. We're in week 15, and they've looked sloppy. And, I mean, you touched on it. You said it's a lower total. I think Jacksonville, first of all, they're laying too many points, but I think that they should cover this number. I mean, the Redskins have been a team that's so banged up right now that they've only been able to beat really bad teams in my eyes, to be honest with you, Drew. And this is one that Jacksonville has to take care of at home. Their defense has to step things up. And I'm going to look at Jacksonville on the spread here. Again, 7.5 points. You've seen it move up and down at different spots, but I think Jacksonville should be able to get the job done against the Washington team that's very, very deep into their depth chart right now. And this has to be a great spot here at home for the Jags. So give me the Jaguars here. Not my favorite game whatsoever on this card, though, Drew.
We got 3-2-3-3-2-4 Arizona at Atlanta. 44 the total, with the Falcons laying 9.5 or 10 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Sunday.
Not a fan of this Atlanta Falcons team whatsoever, Drew. I can't stand watching them because simply they're one of the worst teams to watch. I mean, if you like betting overs, you like this Atlanta Falcons team. But if you're an Atlanta fan or Atlanta backer, you don't like to see what this team does. I mean, first of all, they're on a massive losing streak right now. But second of all, I mean, they've given up, against the Browns, 28 points, Cowboys, 22, Saints, 31, Ravens, 26, and, of course, the Packers, 34. This team gets walked all over, and all of a sudden you're going to show me a pretty decent-sized point spread here in favor of the Falcons. Look, I know the Arizona Cardinals haven't been the most impressive team, and they haven't been able to, put up great performances. They're 1-4 straight up in their last 5, but I think as far as the point spread goes, Drew, they'll get things done. They'll keep things close and within 10.
All right, we got Seattle, San Francisco up next. McInnis, 3.5 or 4. That's the Seahawks laying on the road. Looks like 44.5 the total.
Yeah, looking at this one here, I think these are two teams, again, that can score. I've really liked the Seattle Seahawks this year, Drew. As the season's progressed, they've, first of all, been contending. They've been keeping things close. They haven't really been involved in too many blowouts on either side for themselves or the opposition. And same thing for San Fran. I mean, they've been getting a lot of very, very large point spreads. They've been covering and been able to kind of hang tight and hang within. So for me, looking at this matchup, I'm going to look again to go for the San Francisco 49ers, the plus 3.5 spot here. This Seattle team, 8-3-2 against the spread this year on the season, but I think a San Fran team that's 3-10 straight up. I got to look for San Fran here to come out with a good performance.
Okay, we got a 4:25 Eastern kick. New England at Pittsburgh. Looks like the Patriots 2.5 or 3, so a good one to shop around. Make sure you're getting the best of the number here. 54 being the total. This one in Pittsburgh, McInnis.
Definitely, Drew, looking at this one, I mean, it's kind of they always talk about it's the Tomlin versus Belichick matchup, and I don't really see it as that. I don't really see it as too much of a coaching matchup. I see it just as the Steelers versus the Patriots, and I see this as a bounce-back spot for the New England Patriots, and I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Steelers have been underwhelming this season, underachieving, and they will show up for the Patriots this time around, but again, a very, very disappointing trip to Florida for the Patriots. For some reason, they always struggle against the Dolphins. It was tough to watch. I was actually in Boston at the airport watching that game with a bunch of Patriots fans, of course, and that was disappointing to watch, especially if you had the Patriots in that one. But look, the way I'm going to look at this one, the way I'm going to approach it is going to be the Patriots first half -1. We're seeing a close spread in this one. In general, we're already seeing a very tight spread, but I think the Patriots come out with a great, perfect start. They try and step things up defensively, really milk the clock. We know what that Patriots offense is capable of. We know they can go deep sometimes, but I really feel like they try and take their time with this one. I'd lean the under as well in this game, but I look at the first half in this one and try and mix things up here and give a first half play because I think the Patriots will come out and absolutely dominate this one. I was really, really disgusted with their defensive performance in the second half, and I think of all teams that I know, this Patriots team knows how to go back, look at the film, and correct their mistakes, and that's exactly what will happen here. So this Steelers team won't really know what hit them in the first half, and go with -1 with the Patriots.
All right, McInnis. He's got his NFL ready to go for Sunday. Also, NHL in full swing, hitting a good streak here. McInnis is, and we got his 3-day all access package, and the coupon code is 30 off. So that brings it from $59 down to just $29 for the next 3 days, less than $10 a day. Get NHL and NFL. He's got a bunch going on the ice. We'll get a free pick for him at the end here, but we got the Sunday nighter here. Philadelphia, LA Rams. Philly going on the road, the Super Bowl defending champions, cross country here, catching 12.5 or 13. This line has skyrocketed here, McInnis. Tough to see. We don't see these big moves in the NFL late in the season very often. 52 the total. What are you thinking about betting Philadelphia, LA?
Well, here's the thing. Everyone's been excited about the 10-2 Rams all season from the excitement. A lot of money has come in on them, but realistically, as far as a point spread perspective goes, they're 5-6-2. So it's nothing really to get too much excited about and really be too pleased about from a point spread perspective. But I think this Eagles team, you talk about a hangover. You and I have talked about it on our NHL podcast together, a team having a hangover from so much success in the previous season. Well, I look at this Philadelphia team, the defending champs, and they've been a team that's been really, really, really tough to back, tough to watch. And I've taken quite a few unders with this one, with this team. And I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing here. I mean, this Rams team, we know how successful they've been. They've looked great all season. They've been pushing the score on so many teams. But if the Eagles stand any kind of chance whatsoever in this one of keeping it close, I mean, again, we're seeing a large point spread here. It's one to really shop around. There's been a lot of movement on this one, but we're going to look under the total in this one. You can get around 52.5, 53 even at some spots, but I just think this Rams team, first of all, has to step their defensive up. But you look in their last couple games here, and it's really important to look, at the end of the season, second half, first half of the season, you can see a team. And that's what I like to do when I'm handicapping football. I like to, put it in kind of increments, because teams are a lot different in, a third quarter of the way through a season than they are in the first quarter. And, you look at last game, I mean, 15-6 against the Bears, a loss. I mean, that's something that you don't see out of this Rams team whatsoever. And you look at their past couple games before that, I mean, 30-point spot against the Lions, and of course, put up 54 points against the Chiefs. So this is a team that really, we all know, and it's kind of the obvious statement, we know they can get things done offensively, but the trouble is, can they be a defensive team? Because as we all know, when it comes down to it in the playoffs, in the long run, in the long stretch, defense is really all that matters. And to me, looking at this from a just an outside perspective, I think this Rams team, that has to be their job, has to be their goal really coming into this one. And as we know, that's pretty much Philadelphia's bread and butter. So we're going to look under the total in this one.
All right, McGinnis, we got the NHL free play coming up, but first let's talk about the Monday nighter. New Orleans at Carolina, NFC South matchup here. 6 is what the Saints are laying on the road, 50.5 the total, McGinnis.
Carolina's in my bad book right now, I'll tell you that much, Drew. They're a team that I've given too many chances. I've been burnt taking them on the side and on the total as well, to be honest with you. They're a team that I've tried to count on to put up some points for me. I mean, I had them on the over last week versus Cleveland, and I'll tell you, that game was off to an outstanding start in the first half. It looked great, looked perfect. Both teams were coming out, and all of a sudden, they just get shut down in the second half. Cleveland goes on to win that one, 26-20. They're on quite the losing streak of their own right now, losers of 5 straight games. It's tough to watch. I mean, Cam Newton, I got to say, Drew, Cam Newton's a guy, you always see him scrambling around. Everyone says he takes a lot of hits, a lot of beatings. I think he's kind of vulnerable to put himself in those situations. I mean, you look around the league, you look at certain quarterbacks, you even look at Mahomes, a guy like that, a newer guy into the league, and he's just versatile. He finds a way to make it happen. He's almost like the newer era, newer generation. And a guy like Newton, for me, he's just not being able to get the job done right now, not being able to escape the pocket and find an open target like he used to be able to do. And, that might not be, a favorite way of thinking to a lot of people, but that's the way I think. And Carolina's been a huge, huge disappointment. And I don't think anything changes from last week to this week. And I think, to be honest with you, this is a lot smaller of a spread than I would have thought we were getting. So I'll go ahead and, the easy play here would be on the Saints minus the 6.5. They'll beat them by a touchdown, I think, easily here. And, you look at late in the season, a lot of times, look at great teams, like the Saints, like the Chiefs, like the Rams. You got to wonder how serious they take these last several games. But I think against this Carolina Panthers that can be exciting, can have a lot of energy, can go deep. Again, I'm going to say the same thing I said against the Rams. For the Rams, this Saints team has to buckle down defensively and figure out how to get key stops. And that's what we're going to see in this one as well. So I think the Saints cover, but I also like the under in this game as well.
All right, McInnis, good NFL breakdowns there. Guys, remember the coupon code 30 off at checkout for $30 off his 3-day all access, bringing it from $59 just down to $29. You'll get his NFL and NHL with that service. Let's go with the free play in the NFL. McInnis, what do you got?
The NHL, yeah, we're going to go.
Yeah.
We actually have a coupon code right now going. I'll just get that out of the way for NHL. If you use the coupon code PuckTime, which is the name of my new show with Wager Talk and Sportsmemo, you can get a all-access 7 days pass for just $39 discounted right there on my Sportsmemo handicappers page. But we're going to head to the Vegas Golden Knights versus the New Jersey Devils, two teams that actually met recently, and of course this Vegas team got absolutely destroyed in that meeting, but ever since then they are 9-2 straight up in their last 11 games, and they've been playing some great hockey. You and I on our couple podcasts we've done together for the NHL, which we'll continue to do, we've talked about this Vegas team starting the season with a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of a slump, the way they started their season off. But ever since then, Drew, they've looked great. They've been scoring consistently. They've been involved in a lot of competitive games. They've been beating some pretty good teams, and they beat the Washington Capitals finally, which is a team, as we all know, last year they struggled to beat. We're going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights here. We're going to lay a little bit of juice here. It's around, minus 125, 130, not too much to worry about. And they're on the road against a very, very weak New Jersey team that's struggling right now to pretty much do anything to gather any kind of consistency, and they get scored on easily. They're throwing on a goaltender in Corey Schneider right now. He's 0-5, posting around a 4.5 goals against average. And as we all know, Vegas does a great job on defense, and Marc-Andre Fleury is great there in nets for them. So we're going to go with Vegas for the free play here on the podcast, and we're hopefully to get things done. So great to kind of run through and go through some games in the NFL with you, Drew, and give out some NHL as well. So it's always great to be on this podcast with you.
Yeah, great to have you, McInnis. And just to make sure, that's game number 1 tonight, 7:05 puck drop, and it's minus 123 Vegas Golden Knights. That all sound correct?
Vegas Golden Knights, yes. Yeah.
All right, man. I'm riding with you live. What's our record? I forgot on these free plays. It was 4-3, right?
Unfortunately we are 4-4, but okay. As for everyone listening, Drew and I are going to be doing a couple more of these, and we're going to be, as the weeks go on, we're going to keep track of this record, and I assure we'll get things done. And for everyone listening to this as well, we're going to have some world hockey stuff coming up. Drew and I will be doing a podcast next week on that, and I can't wait to talk with that. World Junior Hockey is always awesome to talk about around the holidays, and of course that starts on Boxing Day.
Cool, man. Well, great having you, McInnis. Guys, best of luck with your bets this weekend, and we'll be back Monday with the NFL opening line report.